It's not the batteries. We're still losing batteries. No, maybe check the back. The batteries must stop here. Very high. What's me to say? Who's a Chavetz Chaim is not Yeshivish. Right. It's a few $100 order.
Listen, they say these days everybody's like, I guess even Chavetz Chaim rubs off on them a little bit.
Shem Yirach.
I didn't want them. I thought they would cost more.
What?
That's all they can do. 1 second.
Nowadays, human attention span is shorter than the goldfish.
Now what? It is, absolutely. Now what?
Nowadays, human attention span is shorter than that of a goldfish.
Probably true.
Yeah, it's like less than a minute.
My cat has.
These are Rabbi Schaefer's.
Either this or
Hey, look, a rock. Hey, look, a rock.
Last time I went to the movies with the porter, they gave me a set of dishes.
Oh my gosh, I just realized that shoes is older than you. I think brought up the problem.
Oh, Alan, I just was going to give an announcement about your big event today.
That's on mine.
Okay,
I just
your Machnas Aruch. Yes.
Swimming around it, sees a rock. Hey, look, it's a rock. Swims around the bowl again. Hey, look.
Okay. Good morning. Before I begin to share, Alan just walked in, so on behalf of the community, I'd like to thank Alan for many things, but he's hosting the beginning of the procession of the Hachnas Sefer Torah today. And actually, the Hachnas Sefer Torah fits well with today's share. Is Baruch Hashem, our friend Pesach Gunman is making Hachnas Sefer Torah for the 1 year anniversary of his kidney transplant.
It starts where? Under the oak tree?
And it starts under the oak tree by the Sakowitz home at 12:30 today. For my Talmidim, I'll talk about that later and share. But really, the concept of dedicating a Sefer Torah, Baruch Hashem, and it should continue for good health, is a very, very nice gesture. And Be'ezus Hashem, everyone should be zocheh to good health and for many, many years. So on the topic of health, you know, the topics, what we do here on Sunday mornings in Shiurim, come from so many different areas and ways. Sometimes it could come because of current events. Sometimes it could come because someone in the share says, hey, I have a good topic for a share. And sometimes they fall on you. This one fell on me. I should say, actually, it befell me last Thursday. There I was, minding my own business. And then all of a sudden, I wasn't feeling well. It was after 8 days, 8 nights of Hanukkah. Too many latkes, donuts, who knows what. I saw the stat. They say for stomach bugs, right now in America, the CDC says it's at a high over a decade. That unfortunately all across America, definitely hit the frum world. There are a lot of stomach bugs going around. We see it here in yeshiva. And I got hit. I was sick. I was literally out the whole day on a Thursday, which is quite expensive for me, quite busy for me. Thursday is not only a full day in yeshiva, then I have a so share for the high school and one for the Beis Medrash and a share for the kollel. And there's a lot of stuff, you know, that I was out. It wasn't much of a shiloh for me. I was out. I spent Baruch Hashem 80% of the day in bed, 100% of the day in my pajamas, and it was one of those days you just chalk up. Baruch Hashem, I was feeling already a little bit better on Friday. I came into yeshiva. Shabbos morning, I was feeling much better. And today, almost 100%, I would think. I'm still taking it easy. My mother's probably watching this somewhere. So I took it easy. I took extra naps on Shabbos. Went to bed earlier for my normal rigorous schedule. But yeah, you get knocked out from a sickness. And I didn't really have the time to think about this fully while I was lying in bed. It didn't take long to fall asleep. But it hit me, okay, what do you do halakhically in days like this? And it happens to all of us, for not, so often. But what's the game plan? When a person's sick, a person's not feeling well, how do you go about your day halakhically in terms of davening, brachos, tefillin, many, many mitzvahs? How do you go about them? And I think it's kedai to talk about it as a share now, because I know for myself, look, I had a certain amount of clarity in the topic when I was under the weather, but I had more time to research and post that. I'm like, oh, you go through so many things. It's hard when a person is sick, he's not in his best frame of reference to be prepared for these things. If you have it clear ahead of time, okay, so then you know what to do. The last time you want to be posketing a shayla or getting rabbinic guidance, is when you're sick, when you're laying in bed. It's much harder at that point. So I want to go through today many interesting shaylas, I think, that come up when a person's not feeling well. Okay, we'll go through the obvious ones about davening and zmanim for davening. But what are the requirements of health-wise does a person need to go through, to put on a talis, to put on tzitzis, to put on tefillin, to daven? How strong does a person need if a person finds himself in stomach issues, running to the bathroom? Does that hold him back from davening? How should he go about that? I mentioned before, you're really weak. Do you have to get dressed? Could you daven in your pajamas? How's that work? A person is in such a weakened state, he can't move, really. He's lying in bed. Or he can't really move while he's sitting in a chair. How's it work for bowing? How's it work for saying the parts of Kriya Shema? Unfortunately, it's a person who really has a serious condition and he's attached to a catheter. Person in that scenario, is he able to daven? Person finds himself, I saw shaylas here in the hospital, and not every hospital is named Mount Sinai. Some of them start with the name of a saint, and sometimes you'll find in the walls in these hospitals reminders that this is St. Peter's Hospital. What do you do about that in davening?
Sometimes those hospitals
right? Hey, don't. Right. So there are definitely many shilohs a person could come across when they're not feeling well. Unfortunately, if they end up being hospitalized for davening, for brachos, then there are interesting shilohs about makeups. Okay, I was out for a day, right? My luck, right? Out for a day meant, I was out for Zos Chanukah. So I thought, oh, this is like the most important day of tefillah. Unfortunately, you missed, right? So that's 4 tefillahs, right? It was also Rosh Chodesh. Shachris, Mosaf, Mincha, Mariv. Okay, how do you make those up? Can you make those up? Make up one at a time. Order, not order. And the next day is Friday, Shabbos. How did that roll in? Complicated. Yes.
You can end up with a scenario that you feel well enough, close enough to Shkia, that you can get one more davening in, but maybe not 2 more. So then which one do you choose?
Which one do you choose? Which mitzvahs do you pick? Yes, there are lots and lots of shilohs, and I believe today's share will be scratching the surface. I don't think we'll be able to touch absolutely everything, but we're going to try to go through some of these halachos. Again, it should not befall you. You should not be sick in bed and have to deal with all these things. But if it happens, to know ahead of time some of the halachos, and definitely important stuff. So let's first start with Hilchas Tefillin, Siman Lamed Ches, top of your page. There's a good amount of halacha here that's beferish in Shulchan Aruch, and there's a good enough. There, some of these other shalos that we touched on are in the poskim and not in the classic Shulchan Aruch. But let's begin with this. Lamed Ches is a siman that talks about who's chayiv in tefillah and in tefillin and who are pater in tefillin. So the Mechaber writes, Chola ma'ayim, someone who's sick in his stomach. So naturally, he caught a virus, he's sick. The Mishabura over there says, Hu adin, someone, mishashas mashka mishalshal. Anyone knows who hit that age? When you got to have a, what's it called, a examination? Colonoscopy. So before you do that, they have to empty your system. Oh, that's the worst. And they give you got to take, nowadays, I remember used to give, you have to drink, what was it?
Barium.
Yeah, this whole, nowadays they give pills, it's just much easier.
They give pills now?
Yeah, that's what my doctor at least gave.
Wouldn't know.
Youngsters, you.
Well, I do know. It's a game changer.
Yes. So, we should make sure everyone finished eating before we begin this part of the share.
Speaking of that, what's the story with Dr. Yota?
Oh, very good question. You should say it with a lot of kavanah when you're sick.
No.
No, I know what you're talking about. Excellent. Excellent. Yes. So let's start with this. Let's start with tefillin. So it says Cholim Ma'ayim, and the Mishabura pipes in, right? I'm not sure fully when did they had colonoscopies back in Europe. You know that they had.
They had something worse, right?
Yeah.
They had animals.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. But the Chavetz Chaim understood that there's natural forms of a person having stomach bugs, and there's artificial. You take medication. You have a drink that brings this upon you. So in that situation, pater mitfillin, you are exempt from tefillin. Okay? And therefore, let me just read Mishabura. Mishabura says a very important line there, top of the page, in Beis, pater, mishum the tefillin boi guf naki. The Gemara says, tefillin needs a guf naki, a clean body. If one's body is not clean, if one's body has a stomach issue, he's running to the bathroom, if he took a laxative and he's going to the bathroom, in those situations, you would not put on tefillin. Now, ideally, I would say, for a person, let's say, who's scheduling a colonoscopy, ideally, if it can be worked out, you plan ahead, right? You don't have to take it 24 hours before. I forgot the exact, it was 8 hours before, a certain amount of time, right? We have some doctors here. But you try to, I would say, try to make a situation where you could wake up that morning and daven, put on tefillin normally, then go through the process afterwards, and then this way, hopefully, clear yourself. Now, I'm forgetting the time frame of how long these things go.
Yeah, but they usually do them in the morning.
They'll do them in the morning.
Yeah,
So-
unless it's an emergency.
Right, right.
Then they deal
So
with
the
it.
following-
Situation.
Right, okay, but at least the day before, when you're doing the prep, that way you ready, put on tefillin, ready daven with that,
Yeah.
and then you're not missing out the tefillin from that. But you're right, the following morning, if you're going to have your colonoscopy in the morning, so then you'll have to wait till after that to put on tefillin. Okay. But, so here's the important step. I'll talk about, let me spell at this point now. A person could put on tefillin till shkia. So ideally, obviously, you want to be able to say Kriya Shema with tefillin. And let's say there's a scenario where, again, depending on the scheduling on the colonoscopy, it could be even technically, you could be, able to daven before the procedure. But let's say you don't have time to daven the full thing, but at least, say Kriya Shema, put on tefillin, whether you could, whatever you could do is best. But if you can't put on tefillin before the Zman to say Kriya Shema with, at least put it on a later point during the day. If ever a person in a scenario where he was not able to put on the phone, sometimes you fly and you can't put on the phone, whatever the thing is, but you put on the phone at some point in the day before Shkia, that's okay.
Tisha B'Av.
You see, get it. Tisha B'Av, right? You put in the phone in the afternoon. Now, so the halacha is, if you have any stomach major ailment, you are potter from tefillin because tefillin needs a guf naki. Haga, the Rama adds, I feel ein lo tsar. Really, it's painless for you, but you know you have this issue. The halacha is, the Mishabura adds on that case, I feel holik b'shvakim chovos. You're going about your daily business today. You do have a stomach ailment, and it's an issue, but it's not that you're sick in bed from your stomach ailment. You might, in the middle of a business meeting, you might need to run to the bathroom. Halach is your potter, right? Your potter. Again, there's no pain, and you're going to work, but you do have a significant stomach ailment. You are potter from tefillin, and the Mishabura says further, the asalolon lahachmer atzmo bezeh. It's forbidden for a person to be machmer about this. This is a tricky area. You know, sometimes the guy says, look, hey, I'm going to work. I know I have a stomach issue, but I'm dealing with it. If it really is something significant, and you don't have what Chazal call a guf naki, then one would not be able to put on the phone, and you should not be machmer. This is not a place to be machmer. The wrong direction. He says, El b'shas kriyash mat filim yodea sheyachol lamon atzmo b'guf naki. Let's say you know that, okay, I have a 15-minute window, which I know I'm clean. I won't have issues. Okay, so the Chavetz Chaim says, based on the Shulchan Aruch later on in Siman Pei, he says, okay, let's say, let's call it a 15-minute window, 10-minute window. Use that for Kriya Shema and Shemona Esrei. Those are the two most important things you would ideally want to wear tefillin for, and use it for those. But otherwise, you're potter. And, okay, that is the halacha about the stomach ailment. He does bring, let's just finish the Sefer, avol shar chola, but a different sickness, not a stomach ailment. If you're unfortunately having pain, you know, it's not only stomachs that could hurt. There are other parts of a person's body, you know, he has major pain from. The ein daitum yushavolav, and unfortunately, a person, because of the pain, you know, his mind is not there. Potter, you're potter from phone in those situations too. The imlav, but if it's not mentally, emotionally, is not so rough, the pain and the focus, so then you would be chayiv. And it's interesting. What's the reason then? If it's not a stomach ailment, so it's not an issue of guf naki. So why is it that if a person's sick, or you know, he has a person broke his leg and he's on a tremendous amount of pain. So there the Chavetz Chaim writes in the Mishabura Sivkot and Hey, Shemi Tochat Tsar Yasiach Daita Mehan. It's because you lose your focus, you lose your mind, you know, when you focus on your pain, and you won't realize you have tefillin on, and you could act in an improper way. One of the most basic ideas for tefillin is you have to have cognizance that you're wearing tefillin to keep the kedusha of tefillin. So, unfortunately, a person's screaming, you know, in pain, he loses that focus. So that would be a reason, even for a non-stomach ailment, for a person to be potter from tefillin. But again, it has to be that if a person's under medication and a person's in control of himself and could put on tefillin, you know, matovim anoyim. Yeah, in fact, I saw someone quote it. It was a very good article. You know, right? Pesach Kron, you should have a refuah shalema. So he's recovering from a stroke. And he's in a rehab facility, and he says a beautiful thing. You know, he says that the rehab facility that he's staying at is in West Orange, New Jersey. He says, Baruch Hashem, it sounds like he has mishpacha there a good amount of the time. But Lavdafka, he always has male family members there. And he has his tefillin there. But Lavdafka, his granddaughter, knows how to put on his tefillin. Help him put on his tefillin. And he says, it seems every day someone from the West Orange community comes and puts tefillin on him. And if anything, it's so true when a person's sick and you're lying in a hospital bed or in a rehab facility, what davening does for a person, what being able to do a mitzvah like putting tefillin does for a person is such a big thing. And, I think when we're learning the halachas of a person who unfortunately is not well and exemptions from tefillin, it's a good thing to balance also that obviously if there's a scenario, if it's a stomach ailment, there's nothing to talk about, he's not doing well, okay, you're potter. But let's say it's a different ailment. And right now, Baruch Hashem, he's on medication, he's drugged up, he doesn't feel the pain as much, and he could focus that he has tefillin on. If anything, that might give a person tremendous chizuk. He could daven, he could put on tefillin, makes a person feel like a mensch for those moments of time. He's able to do that. So that's why you have to weigh these halachos. There's an exemption, but if it's not that degree, there's a chiyuv, and then povakar, give a person the chizuk. I would say it's also important for a person. People are givers, Baruch Hashem, most of the time in life. But unfortunately, you're in a situation, you're in that bed, and the only way to get things is someone else to do it for you. So sometimes the side of a person, like, I don't want to be matriach another person, they're schlepping in. But you know what? They're doing a mitzvah, and you don't know what the mitzvah does for you. And if that's what it takes to put on tefillin, kol kavod, reach out. Let me tell a good story. Just, Baruch, in my right hand man. Let me end it with a good story. Fascinating story. All I know is you. But I don't know anything about it. It's a queen story. So that's the halachas of stomach ailments and other pains. Let's go now to sif beis. Misha barilo she'ena yachol espal below afacha. Person knows he won't be able to daven without having stomach ailments, passing gas. Mutav sheyaver zman tefillah. It's better that it passes the time to daven. Right? We all know the zman tefillah. Okay, whether it's be affected or not affected by Trump changing the clocks. Okay, so if the zman tefillah is going to pass, it's better that the zman tefillah passes. That's better than a person davening without a clean body. Okay, but a person can see at least for Kriyashma, he's good. You should put on tefillin literally between Ava Rabba and Kriyashma right before. Make a bracha there. And then take them off afterwards. Okay. Fine. That's the halacha in Beis. What would I want to add from there? Let's check out the Mishnah Berurah in Vav. Misha Barilo. Right? Someone who's clear about this, certain. Vafukim enu yodea bebir. Bivadai ein levato al tefillah tzibur mishum zeh. Mechaber used very clear language. If it's certain to you that you can't daven without you have major stomach problems, and it's, you're definitely going to have issues. Okay, but let's say a person's not sure about it. So then we would say, don't be mevatel tefillah tzibur for that. It's only in the case where you're clear, you know about it, right? Many times stomach ailments hurt a person. The person knows, okay, it's clear. But if it wouldn't be clear, we'd say, okay, look, try to get tefillah b'tzibur for that. You should try to daven with a minyan if you're able to do that. Okay. In Zion, Dafka tefillah mishum da'omi l'fnei hamelech. Now the Chavetz Chaim introduces us another important halacha. Is we talked about tefillin needing a guf naki. There's also another requirement by Shemona Esrei, by Tefillah, that you have to be, that you're Omi Lefnam Melech. You're standing in front of Hashem. And when you're standing in front of Hashem, your body has to be in top working order. If you aren't, if you need the bathroom, so then you can't stand to daven Shemona Esrei. So that's why the halacha here is it would be better to pass up the Zman Tefillah than to daven with a body that's not a guf naki. And then he says further, if you know what's going to happen and you're going to have to like pause in the middle of Shemona Esrei, so it's better to not start. So this is always a general halacha. A person, even the person not mamish sick, but you're having a stomach ailment one day. So okay, before a person starts Shemona Esrei, you should make sure and wait, even if it means that Tzibur is about to, Tzibur is up to Shemona Esrei, you're not up to that yet. So wait. Aval Kriyas Shema ubirchaseh motor ach belit tefillin. Very interesting step. The Chavetz Chaim is pointing out is we're only talking about Shemona Esrei, and that has the higher standard. But when it comes to reciting the words of Kriyas Shema or the words of a bracha, that you don't need the same madrega. So now tefillin needs a kufnaki. So if you're going to say your Kriyas Shema with your tefillin, then you're going to need the higher standard. But when it comes to just, let's say, okay, I can't have a kufnaki in front of my tefillin, but I at least want to be yotze the mitzvah of Kriyas Shema. So then you could say Kriyas Shema. So practically speaking, let me go through some steps. If a person's sick in bed with a stomach ailment, now that I see these halachas. So look, you always, it's always good to familiar yourself with the Zmani Tefillah. A lot of times people are just used to, okay, I daven at the 7 o'clock minyan every morning. Okay. Unfortunately, you're not feeling well this morning, you're not going to make it for the 7 o'clock minyan. What's the latest time I could daven before I run into Kriyas Shema problems, Softaman Tefillah problems? Okay, so you know your options in the neighborhood, okay? Kal Hasidim has a late minyan. Young Israel Mustama has a late minyan in Hollywood, right?
8 o'clock's the latest.
8 o'clock's the latest?
Yeah.
No 9 o'clock minyan in Hollywood?
No.
West Hollywood? Nothing.
Oh, okay, well, yeah. In West Hollywood, there's not.
They're probably davening. Yeah.
There's a 9:30 in West
Okay,
Hollywood.
see.
Did you just do a 4-letter word on it? Work?
Come on. Yeah. So you always have to know, okay, what are the later minyanim? You're flying late. Your plane lands a little late. So you should know the later minyanim. But also with that, not just the later minyanim, the later zmanim. But let's say a person's lying in bed, the stomach's really bothering you. I can't. Okay. So if your stomach's really bothering you, let's go through the checklist. Could I put on tefillin? Answer seemingly is no right now because I need a gufnaki. Okay, when's the expiration date for me to put on tefillin for today? The answer is shkia. So if at any point in time between now and shkia, I feel better, great, I'll put on tefillin. What's the minimum amount of time I need to wear tefillin for? Kriyas Shema, and Shemona Esrei, that window, right? But I'm really saying that in terms of a tefillah. Minimum amount of time, let's say it's passive on tefillahs and all that, just putting on tefillin, and it does not really have a share. You put on your tefillin, you can say whatever you want to say with your tefillin on, you can take them off. So when I say a minimum amount of time, I was talking just in terms of tefillah. For tefillah, that's what we saw, Kriyas Shema / Kriyas Shema and Shemona Esrei.
So you applied it Palace?
Oh, very, very good point. I'll touch that in a second. So a person's lying in bed. So the first step to do, okay, I can't make the early minyan, let's see if I can make a later minyan. Okay, later minyan is not happening either, my stomach is a problem. Okay, next step to see, could I salvage any of the zmanim? Could I daven, if my stomach is really a problem, so then am I able to be put on tefillin now? No. Okay. But let's talk it through. Could I daven Kriyas Shema? Could I say Kriyas Shema? Brachos. The answer seemingly is yes. Because that doesn't require the same level as tefillin does, as Shemon Esrei does. So technically, if I have the strength, if I'm up, I could potentially say, I should try to say Kriya Shema before Sof Zman Kriya Shema, even without my tefillin. That's what I should do. We'll talk a little bit later, okay? Sitting up, what you should wear, but ideally a person could do that, okay? If I can't do that, okay, I can't do that, so then, you missed the Zman Kriya Shema, we can go through even after the Zman, till Chatzos, other Shiurim. Okay, but let's say it's already past Chatzos now, so I haven't davened, and I haven't put on tefillin, laying in bed. What else is there for me to do? So let me point out. So again, we said Kriya Shema and brachos do not need the same madrega of a guf naki, as long as you're in a clean state for the moment. You can say those brachos, as long as you're wearing something separating yourself from your bottom half. That'll be okay to make brachos. Tzitzis and talis does not need a guf naki. So, technically speaking, I actually think that's a good idea for a person who's not feeling well and ends up lying in bed all day. If we hold every minute you're wearing tzitzis is a mitzvah. So you drape tzitzis on yourself. Okay, at least everything else is not open for business, but at least you have tzitzis on you. It's a pretty relatively easy mitzvah to do, and that's pretty cool. So you got that. Now, talis, same thing. I usually haven't found people sleeping in talis. That sounds a little strange. But if you would be davening, if you can put on a talis, put on a talis. Yes. Now, let me just jump for a second. I want to quickly show the halachas in Sadi Beis. I'll come back to more of the routine in this scenario, the step-by-step guide.
Just real quick, did we just switch out of stomach to other elements where we're not dealing with a clean body anymore? Now we're dealing with more the. More the brain is no longer
right. No, I'm sort of the Mishnah Berurah himself, the Mechaber really, Lamachas, really talked about both of those tracks. So I'm sort of doing them side by side. But first and foremost, a stomach ailment. Here we saw already the Mishnah Berurah said the standard for Kriya Shema and brachos is not the same thing as tefillah, which is not the same thing as guf naki for tefillin. So there is more leeway with those things.
Yeah, I mean, my question is based on more of allowance versus ability in this conversation. Because with the stomach issues, you're really not allowed.
You're really not allowed to put on tefillin, to have the tefillin on you, right, and to be omen of the Melech. But the brachos, again, assuming you're clean, for the moment, you can make brachos. You get a drink, you make a bracha. Yeah. Now, I want to show you one interesting thing that comes up. Now, in general, I'll quickly run through this halacha. Siman Sadi Beis and Nitzach Nakava v'Din Rechitza b'Tefillah. So the din is Hayitzarch Nakava. You have to go to the bathroom. This could be a daily halacha, not an African person sick. You just have to go to the bathroom. Al Yispal, don't daven. The Mispal Tefillah Toeva. Very strong language. If a person davens when he needs to go to the bathroom, your tefillah is an abomination. Mitzarch Laxer L'Spal. And you have to really redo the tefillah. So general thing, it's always healthy for shuls to have bathrooms nearby, sufficient amount of bathrooms. So now it's important, the Mishnah Berurah over here in Beis says, we're talking specifically a person has to go to the bathroom, to sit in the bathroom. Dafka l'gdolim. Av l'ktanim, b'di'evin tzarech lachzor l'spal. If a person had to go to the bathroom, but he didn't go to the bathroom, now ideally you shouldn't daven. If you have to really go to the bathroom, you should go to the bathroom. But if you did, and it was only ketanim, the halacha is you would not have to redaven. Okay? Now, what does it mean, a situation where that that you need to go to the bathroom? So the shear for what it means to go to the bathroom, I can't hold myself back for 72 minutes, right? I look at these things, you're driving on the rest stop, right? Driving on the highway between Orlando and Miami, and you see next rest stop, 60 miles. Okay. Do I need to go to this rest stop or can I wait to the next one? That's really the shear.
Recalculating.
Yeah. The shear per Halachic parsa is 72 minutes. So you tell yourself, okay, I feel I'll go a little bit, but I think I can wait another 60 miles, especially I got traffic, it's free sailing right now, let's go. So, but less than that, then you be yotze, but the eved, ideally, a person always checked, he has to go to the bathroom before he davens. Then he writes also, person has to go to the bathroom, the Ramah adds, even divrei Torah would be a problem, and the Mishabura in Vav over there adds the Chosha came to Kriya Shema v'Shar Brachos. So here's a different thing. Maybe this Josh you were talking about a moment ago is when you need to go to the bathroom, then you can't make a bracha, you can't say Kriya Shema, you can't learn. That's like the worst scenario to be in, right? I remember one time I was stuck on a bus. You can't control your own destiny. You have to go to the bathroom. It's like, oh my gosh. That was before davening too. I can't daven. I can't say brachos. I can't even learn. Your mom is stuck. Yeah. So yeah, you have to go to the bathroom. Nothing to talk about. Good time to schmooze about the weather or sports. But in general, these things, the person has to go to the bathroom, then it holds you back from all these things. There's a very interesting shayla, you already see a little bit, at the end of the Mishabura in Sivkot and Zayin. Rabim, or Darish. Let's say I have to go to the bathroom right now. Giving a share. Even a person has to sit in the bathroom. Motolo lishos atzmo. You're allowed to hold yourself back. The one exception to the rules, if you're giving a share. Why? The Baal Shaksu Raki Surah Durabanan. The Isser Baal Shaksu, which is an Isser, a person to hold himself back from going to the bathroom, it was only a Durabanan Isser in these scenarios. Umishum Kavada Brios Nitche. And because of Kavada Brios, because it's embarrassing, in the middle of a share, time out, I have to take a break, I have to go to the bathroom. So one would be able to continue a share that one's giving if they have to go to the bathroom. Our participant doesn't have the same exclusion, but the one leading the share would. And what's very interesting is the Chavetz Chaim in the Bir Halacha has a similar shaila for a Shlech Tzibur. You're about to ask them. I knew. Look up Chaim's questions. You have these situations sometimes. What would you say about someone's davening for the Amud, and he realizes, I got to go to the bathroom. And it's time, you finish one ass, right? Okay, before you go up to Chazar Shah, can I run to the bathroom? All right, not able to make it and come back in time. Can you put up a pinch hitter? So, the Bir Halacha deals with, for sure, the Parsal issue.
Have we ever seen such a thing happen?
Yes.
For sure.
Yes.
Really?
Yes. Yes.
I can't picture somebody.
Yeah.
I just can't imagine.
So the Chavetz Chaim does weave in a certain degree of heter. He hawks about it further in the Bir Halacha. But yeah, not so simple. Yes.
It would be, I guess, slightly off topic, but would you do the same thing in a base Avel?
That what?
If the Avel who is davening from the Yamud needs the bathroom, do you put somebody else up there, or does he just go and come back?
Yeah, I assume the same type of shayla, all the more so coming up Rios. But let me put through some more other shaylas we touched upon beforehand. So the basic ideas we see is you go through your checklist. There's different standards when it comes to tefillin, davening Shemona Esrei, general Kriya Shema and Brachos, different standards of Kufnaki, where you have stomach issues, or potentially we talked about pain issues. We won't be able to focus on having tefillin. We talked about a person who needs to go to the bathroom, really can't do anything, including that as learning. Now, a person who is under the weather, is sick, the halachas with pajamas, it's a mishabura. He doesn't spell the word pajamas, but I saw the Monday Post use that word. It took me a while to realize what they're talking about. But the mishabura seems to say one definitely should not be davening in pajamas. Shlomo Zalman says a person who's sick, what he could do is just throw a shirt on top of his pajamas, and it sounds like that will be okay. B'diavad in a scenario. A catheter shaila, I saw Shlomo Zalman also speaks about, and he says since catheters are made in a way where they're insulated, and so then he says 100% you would be allowed to daven with them, and that would impose a problem. Okay, a person misses something, he's pater, he's an ones, he doesn't have to make it up, right? You don't make up tefillin by wearing it twice the next day. But
can.
Huh?
But can.
But tefillin you don't make up. There's no makeup. But Shemona Esrei, there is a din of makeups. Normally, the basic makeup is only for the last tefillah. If a person is sick where he missed multiple tefillahs, there is a concept of making up multiple tefillahs as a nadava, adding something in those tefillahs, okay? But in general, the maxim is you do what you can. But I think with today's share, hopefully you do what you can with hopefully a better, clearer knowledge of what's allowed, what's not, and Be'ez Hashem, that should help a person in these situations. But I want to circle back. It hit me a story, just as I was talking about the balancing of the exemption a person has when he's sick, at the same time where he's at a point where there's a certain clarity and he's doing okay, where one could put on tefillin and the like. And I was telling stories about people putting tefillin on somebody. So I was randomly talking to a parent here in the yeshiva, and they were telling me how their father, parent in the yeshiva, they grew up in Queens. They said their father lived across the street from the yeshiva. They said that my father got older, wasn't well. He said there was someone from yeshiva who put on tefillin on this person every single day. Would come to the house and put tefillin on them. Talk about yeshiva. Occasionally you see these signs up, man needs help putting on tefillin, someone go and do it. And to me, it was like, Taka, there are lots of stories like that, people put tefillin on. But here you saw like the ramifications of it 20, 30 years later. Here this woman was saying, you don't know what that did for my family, what it did for my father, that every single day there was a guy from the yeshiva, and if this guy couldn't make it, someone else would come and would go and put on tefillin, and some person, probably lucky, had good real estate, he lived across the street from the yeshiva, didn't take so long, and guys used to go to put tefillin on this person. But, it's not just a simple act of helping a person do a mitzvah, which never is a simple act. But the chizuk that people get, especially in a situation when they're not well, to be able, Baruch Hashem, to do mitzvahs, to daven, to learn, is such an amazing thing. And we should never underestimate the power that we have by just helping out, any way facilitating. Alan on his site every so often has different mitzvahs he puts up. It's a tremendous facilitator. Nowadays you have all different means and ways of communicating these mitzvahs, and a person, chops up a mitzvah chat. You could do something. Once in a while, you never know how far these mitzvahs go for anybody, but certainly a person who's under the weather. I'd like to wish everybody a wonderful week and only good health.
So, what happened?